And
little history lesson here on our Let Him Run at Two Brute, Ides of March.
Oh boy, didn't work out good for him, so hopefully better for us.
I gotta see. Let me see if I can present my screen here. Share screen. Hey, look at this. There you go. That's from the X app.
Wow.
With the knives through him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, ruthless stuff there.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Hey, it's something that we can, we can obviously do here on StreamYard, and if you're watching us here on, we are now on the X app. We are on multiple X app accounts: Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Soon to be at the top of. Let me put this here.
See that, Sean? See what I'm doing?
That's right. Rant Sports can be read at the top of Sports Talk New York and Sports Talk Florida, where, already Sports Talk Florida have a big, pretty big viewership this week, and with people not even knowing we're going to be there. And obviously Sports Talk New York is new. So, it's interesting. I think, we're going to be in a lot more places pretty soon. So just
great. I'm looking forward to that. So that's awesome.
So today, we have some interesting races here. I think we start where we always start here on Let Him Run at we're going to go pick 5 before I'm on the Gulfstream site here, and Sunday, March 16th, mandatory payout Rainbow Pick 6 with $1 million pool if it's not hit prior to March 16th. Mandatory payout tomorrow.
That's big.
That's
huge.
Back-to-back days with some big money.
I'll definitely be taking a look at that, Sean, after today for sure. Love those mandatory payouts. 20-cent base pick 6. You can spread. Usually I'll get a couple of guys who go in with me, so that's great. Awesome.
So we start today with we got these, got the preview story up for Sports Talk Florida. Race 8. It's going to be races 8 through 12, and we're going to look at the Virginia Derby as well at Columbia Downs. Race 8, gate or post time 4:20 Eastern, 6 furlong, maiden special weight, $94,000 race. So, it's a pretty impressive race there. I know we talked a little bit on Thursday night, One Horse Wonder. If you didn't check that out, please go back and check it out. You can find it on multiple. You can find it on X. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on these places. But if you can't find it, please go back and check that out. And that's going to be something we'll do every week. So, but what do you got here for this first race?
Well, I want to make a comment first about something I did mention on Thursday night regarding this race, and the trainer Anthony Sciametta, who is the trainer of note in terms of the number 8 horse, the $3 million horse that we discussed at length on Thursday. Trained by Todd Pletcher, but Todd Pletcher has a 7-day suspension. This trainer is one of the guys who's been with trainer Todd Pletcher for 21 years. He's listed as a de facto trainer only because Todd Pletcher is suspended, so his name cannot be associated with any horse that is currently running, although he obviously has been doing the training behind the scenes. Just interesting, and there are some people who have commented on that and said, hey, obviously this horse must be ready to run. Were they going to wait? Was this where he was entered before the suspension obviously came about? Just an interesting side note. I don't think the horse knows too much, although obviously any kind of change like that can have an impact. But obviously a horse that was purchased for $3 million, Sean, has a lot of upside. But
did they announce Did they announce why he was suspended? I didn't
I had
even...
something to do with, there was like a micro dose of some drug that was in one of the horses they tested. Because they test all the horses after every race to see if there's any issues with regard to any medications that have been administered. And apparently, like a micro dose of something came up, and if it comes up, they get suspended. So he had a 7-day suspension. This guy Anthony Scametta has been with him 21 years. Is listed. They call it deputizing. He's listed as the trainer of note. So good luck to him training these horses as we move forward through this. But the horse, as we talked about, that I fell on was the number 4. Here Comes Francis, and I hope he does come, because he has my favorite jockey today, who's going to be on a lot of horses we like today here at Let Him Run. Luis Saez gets the mount, trained by Victor Barboza, one of the hottest trainers there. There are 2 scratches in this race that are of note. Number 1, who was one of Victor Barboza's other horses, he has scratched. And the number 5, Twin Lights, trained by Eddie Owens. But the interesting thing about that is also with the scratch of the 1, which the rail at 6 furlongs at Gulfstream Park wins at 32%. That puts the 2 horse on the rail, ridden by Junior Alvarado and trained by Dale Romans. I certainly still have all my eggs in the basket for the number 4. Here Comes Francis. First time out, training lights out. Barbosa's hot. 25% sprint trainer, almost 30% dirt trainer. Great breeding with Improbable and City Zip. So he's going to be my number 1 pick. There's lots of horses to choose from. Anytime you have new starters, Sean, you know how that can be tough. Yeah. So I did have the number 1 as one of my second picks in our article that we wrote. But if I had to take another horse, if you're looking to pick another horse, I would go with the 2. Pursuit Never Sleeps. Dale Romans again has an entry in this. Dale Romans, a great trainer. That horse is now on the rail. With the scratch of the 1, the 2 is now on the rail, 32%. Another first-time starter, training well. It certainly has the Tomlinson for the distance out of a Ghost Zapper sire. So should be interesting, Sean. But that's our pick in there. Number 4, Here Comes Francis. If you want to go with another horse with that horse, I would do the 2 and the 8 for sure. Obviously, you can't leave the 8 out, but I hope he comes in second right behind Here Comes Francis.
Race 9, 450 Eastern, dirt, 7 furlong, $8,000 claiming race. Talked about this.
That's as low as they get there in Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, you know. And are any of them getting claimed? That's the thing. Probably not.
Well, you'll know after they do the shake after the race. You won't know till after, but it probably will happen. I mean, you look at some of these horses; a lot of them have been claimed already a couple times prior to this race, so it may happen. But this is the lowest level at Gulfstream Park. But again, these horses are running to win. The trainers are running for their horses to win. The owners are want their horses to win. So 8,000, 80,000 made in special weight, grade 1, grade 2. The horses want to win, and that's what they're looking for. In this 7 furlong race, they're looking to win, Sean.
I see some in the notes here. The number 7 Rocky Seas, first off the claim for Kent Sweezy, who's hot, ran second 4 times straight, now gets Vasquez, who clicks at 43% with Sweezy. 43%.
Yeah, Sweezy uses him. Gulfstream Park, he's used him 7 times, so he's won 3 out of 7 times, but he's also run well with him. What's interesting about this horse that I just noticed was the owners of this horse are Richard Newman and Ken Sweezy. They own the horse. They've been trained previously by Eddie Owens, Angel Rodriguez, Tariq Mubarak, and now Kent Sweezy says, hey, I want my horse back. I want to train him. Interesting, right, Sean? And now this horse is being trained by his owner. So I think that's very interesting side point here, which even makes me like this Rocky Seas even a little bit better. He took Saez off him, not a terrible thing. Ken Sweezy, like you said, hits with him at 43%, not a bad thing, right?
Yeah, and I know in the notes you're going to go a little Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul here, limited starts, flash speed on dirt to break her maiden. And once again, you talk, speed, and then you got Paco Lopez on the horse, which pretty much ensures you're going to get that ride that you probably want too, right?
100%, Sean. Paco Lopez has returned with a vengeance. I always say, and as you know, Sean, you've covered some high-level athletes, NFL, soccer athletes, hockey. Any athlete at that level, even any level, I'm talking about high school, college, but especially high-level athletes like high-end jockeys like Paco Lopez. When they have something befall them, he had a bad incident where he treated a horse badly. He got suspended for a long time. He's back with a vengeance, and he has what we call a little chip on his shoulder. Meaning he wants to show that he's the best jockey. He's been bouncing around from track to track. I mean, he's the, as James Brown was, the hardest working guy in show business. This guy is the hardest working trainer in horse racing business. So he's on a horse that does have some speed. You're right. His 2 times on synthetic at Gulfstream Park, he did okay. It seemed like he didn't like it very much. He's 4-1 in the morning line. He broke his maiden impressively. At maiden claiming 12-5. So he fits at this level, Sean. And I got a feeling when Paco gets on this horse and the gates open, the Queen of Soul is going to make some noise and singing right out of the gate and looking for the lead. So I look at it being like more or less not quite a 2-horse race, but I like the 7 and I like the 4 to be there with him. Some people like the 2 as well, classic ballad, but I'm going to stick with my number 1 pick, the 7, and see how this race pans out, Sean.
We talked a little bit about this race the other night. I mean, it's interesting because, the 3 Fashionable Kitty scratched, but, there's 8 horses and, 5 of them are basically 8-1 and lower, 5-1, 5-2, 6-1, 4-1, 3-1, 8-1. And then there's 2 long shots. But, there's a lot of, it's pretty good value. I mean, these are 2 pretty good horses. If you're going to get $10 to win on Queen of Soul and even with Rocky Seas, you're going to get, $7-8. So the odds obviously could change. So,
well, and in horizontal betting, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, the first leg is the only leg that you get to see how the odds are going to play out. So in that first leg, to go back briefly to the 8th race, which is the first leg of this pick 5 that we're talking about, you're going to see how the odds shake out before the race goes off. Every other race after that, the rod, you're basing your bet obviously on the horse you like for the reason you like the horse, whether it's the trainer, jockey, speed figures, et cetera, et cetera. But the odds are what they are when you look at it. But when they go off, they're going to be different. But you're not going to have any impact unless you're betting in that race. Obviously, live in that particular race, but in those horizontal bets, it's already, you're going to just have to watch the board and see what happens. But I will say this is a good race. I think it's an interesting race. I'm looking forward to seeing that race too, Sean.
Race 10, 520 Eastern Turf, 1 mile, optional, claiming $2,000. Got some, how many horses in this? This is a big field, I guess. Looks like.
There were some scratches. There were some.
Did they also eligibles?
Well, let me tell you about that because this created, and this is where I put my video up on Instagram and X about this race because it really created a whole different dynamic in this race, which favors, in my opinion, the horse that we like very much. So the scratches that came out of this were the 2, the 9, the 13, 14, 15, but not the 16. And who's on the 16?
Got in.
The 16 got in. Joel Rosario is on the 16. When your horse gets in as an also eligible, you're obligated to ride that horse, even if you're listed on another horse. So he was listed on the 7 horse, the horse we like, horse I like, 6-1 morning line, speed of the speed. Well, the 9 horse scratch, and guess who was on the 9 horse?
Luis Saez.
Saez says, "Hey guys, I'm available. I can ride a horse. I know how to ride." They put him on the speed of the speed. Ding, 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 ding. To me, that's another tell that this horse is really going to run well. But it's also a caveat that Joel Rosario gets in on the 16. Not a bad horse. And I looked at him, but of course I waited until the scratches to make a little bit more observation about it. Horse has been in some big races, grade 3s, grade 2. Hasn't run too well lately. Was on synthetic last time out. Trained by Bill Mott. I mean, he is the number 16 horse, but he is in the 11th post, 11 hole, based on the rest of the scratches. So that created like a lot of stuff going on when that happened, Sean.
I know the Pharaoh's Wine. It's the other thing to drop it down a little bit in class.
Oh,
Now,
big time dropping class, big time.
do you look at the do you take now because the 16 got in and obviously Joel is on him? Is that a horse now that you have to really focus in on in this race as well?
I would say 100% because you'll see all the time when you look at results after races go off. So many times also eligibles win. I'm not just talking about in a turf race that's rained off and the also eligibles are in just hoping that it rains and they can get in and they're there just because in case it gets rained out and gets put on dirt. This horse got in. There's no change of the turf conditions. It is still on turf. You got Bill Mott and Joel Rosario. That's a pretty dynamic combination. His morning line is 6-1, the same as the horse we like. But I would say if you're doing some exactas and trifectas, I would certainly consider using that horse as well as the number 1 horse, Moving On Up. Your favorite horse, Sean. I know you love that Moving On Up as your horse. He's got the rare with Zayas and Joseph Safi together again. So, I mean, I'm looking at the 1, the 7, and the 11. 1, 7, 11 is my picks in that race in terms of altogether. But I still fell. I see you're moving on up, Sean. I still fell even more in love with the 7 with the fact that Zayas got on him. So that's fantastic. I think it just made it more solid in my mind, Sean. I'm waiting for Wheezy to come out. Is Wheezy coming out anywhere anytime soon, Sean?
Coming down the stairs right now.
All right, Sean.
That guy's so funny. Every time I see his face, he's always angry, man. Sherman Helmsley, man. It's amazing. Just a quick side note because we did that the other day. TV back in the. You're a little bit older than me, but I grew up watching.
Easy, Sean.
Yeah, you probably you grew up watching some of these shows.
Oh my God, All in the Family. Could you think All in the Family would ever be aired today? No.
No chance. Most of these shows probably wouldn't be on, but I mean, there was a lot of.
Three's Company.
Three's Company. We used to watch. I mean, look now. I got IPTV now. I got every Premier League game and every game, and I got 12,000 channels.
Of course, yeah.
Now it's crazy, and you got streaming sites and all this stuff. But back then we didn't have all that stuff, and just think about just for us as horse racing fans, TVG like on my IPTV, I have TVG1, TVG2, and the other horse race. I forget what the other one is called. There's multiple horse racing.
There's the racing for the NYRA racing where they show the horse racing from New York to now it's Aqueduct nowadays. So, there's lots of channels out there. In fact, since you mentioned it, Sean, I'm a little older than you. We had to get up and turn the knob on the channel and stuff like that. If you want to go down that road, Sean, it's fine. It's okay.
We back in the day, I have vivid, now once again everything's on, but I have vivid. People are like, nah, you never watch this. You never watch this. In 1988, I watched on Prism, and if you're not from Philly area, you don't know knows what Prism is, but Prism used to show all the sports and stuff, and it was one of these. HBO was out. Well, I remember watching Game 7 of Calgary and Vancouver in the in 19 the year Calgary. Well, I think it was 1990.
Hockey soccer. It's on you.
I'm like, how am I watching this game? I don't understand. Like, this is crazy. Now, I mean,
it blew your mind because it was on TV.
Now what's that?
It blew your mind because it was on TV.
Yeah, I'm like, how am I watching this game? It was great. It went to like double overtime, and I'm like, it was the greatest game of all time. But like, I'm like, how now you could just take your phone out and watch anything you want. You can watch
stream, the old stream. That's the word of the day, stream.
Yep, Everton just scores as we're talking. It tied up 1-1.
Oh,
I mean, it's amazing. So, but back to the racing here.
yes.
Race 11, 550, dirt, 6 furlongs, optional claiming, $25,000 race. And I see. Let me see if they won. So the one, as of now, I think the one is still in. I know if you're talking about some scratches here, but what's your take on this race here?
There was one scratch. You be the judge. The 6 horse. Not a big issue in terms of what's happening. Again, I mean, if the one scratch, the 2 would have been on the rail. 32%, 6 furlongs. The rail is. I still think he's going to essentially quote get the rail once the gates open, because he's going to go right around the 1 horse and get on the rail and essentially be on the rail. Again, Joel Rosario, perhaps again one of the best jockeys there is. If he gets him out of the gate in the way he should and gets to the front the way he should, I don't see anything other than him going from gate to wire. There is, it's a short race, 6 furlongs again. The 4 Julie's Legacy has some speed with Dylan Davis on him. I'm looking at him as a possible speed horse as well, but I do like the 2 better. I think his speed is much better. His buyer speed figures are much better. I think bettors will be attracted to the number 4 strictly because Dylan Davis is on him. But he's already had some great jockeys on him. Zayas, Irad Ortiz, Luis Saez. So he's already had some good jockeys steering him. The 7 is the other choice. I like Palmetto Fury with Tyler Gaffalione. He's the second of 2 horses, Sean, that we discussed before, going for 4 in a row. Pleasant Embrace is going for 4 in a row. Fits perfectly at this class. Looks great. Ran 4 times at 6 furlongs, won 3 times, came in second. The 7 horse ran twice in 6 furlongs, won both times at 6 furlongs. He's going for his 4th ride. 4th win, again, with Tyler Gaffalione staying on board. Joel Rosario knows that horse well. Kelly Breen, again, as we mentioned, is a good trainer. So I think this race very likely should be very formful. I mean, I think you're going to get those 3 horses. The 2, 3, and the 7 are going to kind of be pretty much at the wire when it's over. The 4 may cause a little problem with the speed, but I think eventually his speed is going to be dropping back out of the pack a little bit while those other horses go by him. So that's why I look at that race. But still, my favorite horse is the 2, Pleasant Embrace.
It's interesting. Once again, when I look at this 7 horse race, but you look at the odds, and it's gonna. I mean, everybody is within. There's 6 of the 7 horses are within 3-1 to 5-1. I mean, the 6 horses from 3-1 to 5-1. So, really, really, for a betting race, I mean, there's a lot of. There's going to be a lot of value. There's not going to be anyone who's obviously going to be maybe by the time it's bet down. But
again, like we said, when the race goes live and people start betting, you're going to see the odds go up and down. But obviously, the odds makers who put these odds out in the morning to create these morning lines look at this race and clearly feel it's
wide
a fairly
open,
evenly matched race based on as you mentioned the odds show. But hey. There's always going to be some value in the race depending on where the odds fall. But I got to feel this is going to be one of those races where you look at from 1 to 7. 6 horses actually in the race, but I think it's 6 or 7.
7.
7 horse. Well, when you see the odds board 1 through 7 going down, there's going to be a 3-1, a 4-1, a 7-2, a 2-1, maybe an 8-5 on one of the horses. Not going to see any 15, 18-1 shots. You're not going to see that in that race, Sean.
Yeah. I always think that's interesting. Race 12, 6:20 Eastern Turf, 1 1/16 mile maiden, $25,000 race, and we have monster field, 12 horses, right? 11 horses, the 9 scratched.
Yep.
Lowest claiming level at Gulfstream Park, most wide open race on the card. Obviously 11 horses, wide open. Just talk about how you bet a race like this that is this wide open.
Sure. Well, one of the things that happened with the scratch of the 9, we talked about this a little bit, and we mentioned it in our podcast the other night when we were doing our one horse wonder. The 9 horse Out of Money scratched, as you did mention. He was the only horse in this race that was making the biggest drop in horse racing from maiden special weight to maiden claiming. So that is often an angle that many horse players will look at and say, don't leave that horse out because he's finally racing against other horses that he might have a chance against while he's out. So that eliminates one of the angles that a lot of people would bet on. And again, horses in a race like this, that maiden claiming, a lot of times they'll say, look at a horse that has not proven yet that he's terrible, that he can't run, that he's not very good. And one of those horses is the horse that we mentioned that I like, the 8 Fountain Run. He's only raced 3 times. This is another horse that's trained by Todd Pletcher, but being taken over, deputized by the trainer we mentioned, Anthony Sciametta. Horse last time out, first time on turf, put up a big number, Beyer speed figure, ran a great race. Saya stays with him. I think, again, he's 7-2. He's probably going to definitely be the morning or the post-time favorite once it goes off. Chill the J, the 11 horse who's now in the 10th slot, being ridden by Tyler Gaffalione. Gaffalione's taken over for Irad Ortiz on this horse. Irad Ortiz is at Colonial Downs. So he's riding this horse. That gives him an edge too. So, the other horse that we picked up was the 5 horse Battle On. He is dropping. He is the last horse that is in the race dropping from maiden special weight to maiden claiming. So I take back that comment I made earlier. The horse that did scratch out the 9, Out of Money, was one of the 2 horses. So the 5 Battle On, being ridden by Junior Alvarado, trained by Riley Mott, who's the son of one of the best trainers there is, Bill Mott, getting Lasix for the first time, got gelded, second time out. Not a lot of negatives to look at other than he didn't run very well at the first time in a short race, 5.5 furlongs. But, maiden special weight to maiden claiming, Riley Mott hits at 20%. So you might want to think about using that 5 horse in your exacted bets as well and trifecta, Sean. But I apologize. I forgot that horse is also taking the biggest drop in horse racing that they often look at, Sean.
Why do you, just for people that are watching here, because I see we have a large number of people watching around the different apps. Why do you want to look at a horse that is on Lasix for the first time, or maybe I feel like maybe the second time they usually race better with that? I don't know if that's true or not, but why do you want to look at a horse that's on Lasix?
Good question. Some people will say second time Lasix might be better than first time. But usually if a horse bleeds, like they'll see some bleeding in their nose, and then when they get checked out afterwards, every horse gets evaluated to be sure they're sound again. Of course, they see how they eat, they see how they move, they see if they're injured. They always talk about, did a horse come out of the race soundly? If a horse comes out and bleeds, they may be able to use Lasix, which keeps more of the blood flowing through their system better and allows them to breathe better, to flow better, to move better. So it can be a big difference. And horses that oftentimes come from Europe where they can't use Lasix will come here, get Lasix. And that's a really good example of when a horse will run better second time on Lasix because they've never been on it ever. And some of these horses out in Europe will benefit from that. So that's why Lasix can be important to know, especially if a trainer shows a propensity for, putting a horse on Lasix. And in this case, 19% Riley Mott, when he puts a horse on Lasix, the horse has only raced once. So again, some of these horses have raced 7, 8, 9 times, have not shown too much, and so, they're getting a chance to show something in a race, a maiden claiming race like this at the lowest level. So they're kind of, they'll often say that these horses are running with their friends.
Okay. That's it. I always see that's interesting. When you I know, just going back to Saratoga and everything, we talked about that, and I thought I had remembered the second time Lasix thing.
Sure.
From.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Second time Lasix, and sometimes you won't see that all the time in the post or past performances that you get either on DRF or online, where they'll give you at the bottom, for instance, like 11 or 31 to 60 days, 12%. Dirt 15%, turf to dirt, allowance races, etc. But on which is why I love Brisnet. I'm certainly a fan of Brisnet. They'll give you percentages that you won't see here, like second time Lasix, 46%. Whoa, I didn't know that because you didn't see it here. Also something like, beaten favorite. A horse last time out he was favorite. He was 8-5 last time out, got beaten favorite. The trainers 38% beaten favorite. You don't see those in these past performances that you get from DRF, which is why I like Brisnet, which I know, Sean, you often hear me talk about Brisnet as one of the sources I use that helps me, with the other information I get, helps me make my picks.
And any information that you're going to get that's going to help you make more money is always important, I think. So, I mean, you can
help. Hey. Especially information that not everybody may have. I mean, obviously, there's inside information that you get. If you know the trainer, or a trainer will say this horse looks like he's ready to jump out of his skin, so he's ready to go. Oftentimes, lots of guys, like there's a guy who I communicate offline. On horse racing, thoroughbred horse racing. He has a nice situation there. Track Gabe, great guy out in Santa Anita. Track Gabe often does paddock picks where he's live in the track at Santa Anita Park looking at horses live in the paddock, and he'll make some paddock picks. That's another angle that you don't see here is a paddock pick. So if you are, like we're oftentimes in Saratoga, you see the horses come out, you see a horse go out. That horse looks like he's ready to run. Or he just is prancing on his toes, bouncing on his toes, or another horse may be very, off his game or look like he's too anxious or not ready to run. And those are kind of cool things to look at, Sean.
Definitely. And then finally, that's the last of the pick 5 there.
Yep, I'll post that pick 5 on X after I get done and sit down and take a look at it. But yeah, go ahead. Lead us into this next race, Sean, because there's some pretty interesting stuff that happened.
I just looked. We have over 100 people watching live on X right now. So that's
awesome. Welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So the Virginia Derby, a 1-turn, 1 1/8 mile race with 50 Derby points on the line. There's some very good horses in this race. I know I talked about it the other night. But we'll about the Omaha coming from the back, and some of the stuff that we talked about. I know you talked about Getaway Car and Rapture.
Yep.
But it's a bigger field. I think we still got 10 horses in the field.
No. The two had already been scratched prior to today, but since this morning, the one calling card is also scratched, and also the 10 Georgia Magic is scratched. So the number 2 John Hancock and the number 10 Georgia Magic, they were the 2 horses that had a lot of speed that would probably give a little bit of a challenge to Getaway Car. The 10 horse was not ever going to win this race, in my opinion, but it would have provided a little pace to the race that would have put a little pressure on Getaway Car. Right now, Getaway Car looks a little bit stronger because of that. I'm still not getting off my pick, number 7, Rapture, because I just think of this whole 1-turn, 1 mile and an eighth is kind of crazy. And I was listening to a podcast the other day where they had a exercise rider who, former jockey, I can't remember his name, but he was from Europe, made an excellent point. He said, in Europe, horses, if you ever watch races from Europe, they often do like straight mile, like just 20 horses running a mile straight down the line. You don't see that very often. And he said horses that have are built just to run forever, either based on their bloodlines or how they run, they're going to have an advantage in this type of race, which is crazy unusual, 1-turn mile and an eighth. And he really fell on the 7 horse Rapture because he just thinks that horse is built to run for this kind of race, meaning a 1-turn with a 7 furlong before you get to the first turn. Brad Cox trained him. Again, we talked about winning last start 30%. Flavian Pratt, Eclipse winning jockey on this horse. Pratt does nothing but win stakes races, and I hope that he gets a chance to win another one here. But those scratches do make a little bit of a significant impact. It may give a little bit more of an edge 2 Getaway Car, but we'll see. I mean, he's still got to run the race, but he certainly puts him a little bit more in front with a little less concern about who's running with him, Sean.
And I know the other night we talked on the One Horse Wonder podcast on Thursday night. Once again, if you didn't get a chance, go to Capital Sports Network YouTube. If you're watching it on Capital Sports Now, just find the video. But Getaway Car was gonna get out, and
get away.
If he gets away, he's probably gonna win. If he doesn't get away, Rapture is going to be the horse that is bred for big runs and could chase him down. And one of the other horses in the field that could do that is Omaha. Omaha is a stalker and could be coming off from the back to track some of these, to track down Getaway Car. If Getaway Car starts to fall back a little bit at the end. So I think that could be interesting, but it's going to be interesting to watch this race because, once again, like one turn is just a weird.
Well, it's weird at a mile and an eighth.
A mile and an eighth, yes.
Yeah. I mean, they have one-turn mile race. They have one-turn mile races all the time at Gulfstream Park, Aqueduct. Obviously 6 furlongs is a one-turn race. 7 furlongs is a one-turn race.
The Derby is 2. This counts as a turn.
Any other route race is 2 turns. Yeah. I mean, that's why they call it 7 furlong a sprint because it's 1 turn. But every other route race is 2 turns.
Yeah, 2. Yeah,
and again,
basically going around the corner, twice.
Sure.
It's I almost think of it as like a 4 turn, but like it's here.
2 turns. But it's just interesting in this race, and it's going to be interesting to watch. And again, the Virginia Derby, typically, as we mentioned earlier, it was never run in the spring. It was a fall turf race. Yeah. Their big race at Colonial Downs. Colonial Downs has beautiful turf races there. If you ever get down there, it's a beautiful place and a beautiful course to watch turf races. This Virginia Derby was always in fall on turf. Somehow, I don't know the exact mechanism with how it became a Derby prep race, but it also is the last 50-point Derby prep race. From here on in, all the races for Derby prep races, Sean, are going to be 100 points if you come in first place, which again means for the next, I think, 10 or 11 winning you're in.
This is the Wood Memorial. I'm going to get a list of these things right now.
The Florida Derby.
Florida. Oh, yeah, my Holy Bull. I went to see Holy Bull back in the day.
Tommy Dolan's favorite horse, Tommy Dolan.
And we were there. We were right there. I wish, I got to find these pictures. We were right at the finish line. And it was, just amazing to see. I'm going to pull these up. So you got next week, you got the Louisiana Derby, 100 points. Jeff Ruby Stakes, March 22nd. These are the days too where I think we talked about that on the Thursday night show, a little bit, where TVG is or Fox, where I don't even know. One race is at 5:00, one race is at 5:15, one race at 5:45, and they have that golden hour there where it's like Louisiana Derby, Jeff Ruby Stakes, Fugaru S. The Japanese race, that's going to be a different time. That's worth 40 points. The following week, Florida Derby and Arkansas Derby, 2 big races. The April 5th is a monster day. Wood Memorial, UAE Derby, Santa Anita, and the Bluegrass. And then April 12th, Lexington, which is, worth 20 points. But, April 5th is basically that last day, the 4 races, 100-point races for winners. And because – after that, I think the horses start to get ready for, you don't want them racing, Oh,
no. A horse that's already in, the trainer may put him in and make him run a race, not even meant to win, just to keep him in shape. If they're already in the Derby, they may want to run a race just to keep them in race shape, so to speak, or they may not because of fear injury, et cetera. So every week that goes by now, Sean, that leaderboard for the Derby points is going to change. There's going to be a variety. There may be some horses that, unfortunately are deemed not sound and can't run. So, we got some good stuff coming up, Sean. It's going to be pretty interesting. Absolutely.
I'm going to just show you that thing if I can pull this up here real quick. If it's let's see, road to the Kentucky Derby share. So Cole Battle here. This is on the
leaderboard.
Yeah, Cole Battle, Owen Almighty, Citizen Bull, Sovereignty, Flood Zone. Obviously, look, there's you see the points here. 31. Sure. Sandman 29. These points are going to change when someone wins a 100-point race starting next week. These points are going to change very quickly. So you're gonna get a little bit of a different change in the next couple weeks. But right now this goes down to 77. Bracket Buster, which is apropos for this week as we get the thing
tomorrow. Sunday, right? Tomorrow the brackets, right?
That's correct. Bracket Buster, 1 point. And looking to get in. But, yes, I don't know who that bracket buster is going to be. It's probably not going to be North Carolina. We stink. So,
Matty Mayor's upset with UNC, too. So,
and that guy's got to go, man. That guy's got to go. But
you're right. Now, it's a big weekend of racing, horse racing, obviously, with the Virginia Derby today. Tomorrow, they'll put the brackets out. And one of my favorite golf tournaments is concluding tomorrow, the TPC Tournament Players Championship down there in Ponte Vedra, Florida. My man, I bet him last year in a couple golf matches, Ashtay Bhatia, the splendid splinter. He's weighs about 146 pounds, soaking wet, hits the ball a mile, can turn it left, right. He's also left-handed. That's a good thing. He's at the leaderboard right now on top at -11. They're playing now in some conditions. Apparently going to be kind of windy. So I put a couple shillelaghs with St. Patrick's Day coming up. I put a couple shillelaghs on Ashtay Bhatia to win. And so let's see how he does. Other than that, horse racing is going to be what we're going to be watching. So good luck to everyone. Thank you for watching. Ask any questions on X or Instagram. If you have any thoughts, check out our other videos that I'll put up there about any changes that may occur as we get closer to some of the races. And again, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you and talking to you again.
All right. We will see you again sometime this week.